Hi YouTube, this is Hasnen from Trending Codes, and today we're going to look at how to create a beautiful login screen right away in Ionic 3. Now from now onwards we're going to work with Ionic 3 because we got an update for Ionic framework, and basically the difference between Ionic 2 and Ionic 3 is Ionic 3 is using Angular 4. Now as you can see over here in my project, the dependencies for the Angular and all the components of the Angular has been changed from 2 to 4.0.2 because from now onwards Ionic framework is implementing Angular 4. So this is the basic difference between the Ionic 2 and the Ionic 3. So from now onwards, when you will download the project, your dependencies will get updated with 4.2.0. So this is a difference between the Ionic 2 and the Ionic 3. Ionic 3 is using Angular 4. And so to design this, let's get started. Okay, so here I have opened my blank project, and as you can see, it's nothing over here. So first we're going to work with the .html file, and to do that I'm going to open my HTML file in the Visual Studio Code over here right away. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a login screen right away. So I'm going to remove the header part of the login screen. So I removed my header part, so there will be only Ionic content in my Ionic page. Now first of all, I'm going to create a card, Ion card. As we have seen in the previous video, to make a card there's a tag called Ion card. Now after doing the Ion card, I'm going to create the Ion card header. Okay, and I'm going to say that login. After doing this, I'm going to create the content of the Ion card. So in the Ion card content tag, Ion card content, inside the Ion card content, we are going to make a list, and the list will be containing the label and the text box for username and password. So to do that, we need to create an Ion list, and the Ion list should not be having lines, so we should use no lines over here. After doing no lines, after creating the Ion list, inside the Ion list we are going to prepare, or we are going to create the label or the text box. Now as we have seen in the previous video, when we are creating the buttons and text box, I guess that was the second video. So when we create the label, or when we create the text box, we should write that text box or label inside the Ion item tag. Now these two are considered as the Ion item, so it should be inside the Ion item. Inside the Ion item, I'm going to create the Ion label. So it should be Ion label, and it should be floating. After creating a floating label, I'm going to say, I'm going to give a name to the label as username. Once I'm done with creating a label, I'm going to create the text box. So Ion input, and the type of input is text. Now once I'm done with creating the text box, I'm gonna go ahead and copy the Ion item again, and I'm going to paste underneath the Ion item tag. Now this should be the password over here, and in the same way the type of the text box should be password, so user will not able to see the text. Okay, once I'm done with this, we created the Ion card, we created the header of the Ion card, and then we created the list. Inside the list we created two items. Let's go ahead and check. Okay, I'm not getting any output. I don't know why. I think so, it's a mistake. Let me figure out. Ion card. Okay, I did a mistake in writing the label spelling. It should be ELLABEL. I did a mistake over here, and that's why I'm not getting the output. I should go ahead and fix over there. Okay, and here also. Okay, I'm gonna save and let's check it's working or not. Okay, as you can see, we created the label, we created the header, we created the button. Everything is clear till now. And now what we're going to create is we're going to create a button right away. And no, before creating a button, we're going to create one more item inside the list, and it will be like Ion item. Inside the Ion item, I'm going to use p tag. Inside the p tag, I'm going to say forgot password. Forgot password. I'm going to create the link tag over here and anchor tag over here, and I'm going to say that get here. Okay, now this will simply create a one item by asking to the user that you have forgot password. If you have forgot password, you can click here and you can get your password right away by clicking on this link. As we are not going to implement this right now because we are just creating a design, or we are just building a design for the login form. Okay, now after doing this, please, I request you to get out from the Ion item tag, because we are going to create a button, and buttons are not the part of the Ion item. Well, you can create the button inside the list, but you should not create the buttons inside the Ion item. So just get out from the Ion item and create the button over here, and the button should be of Ion button, and the color for the item, for the button is primary. Okay, that's okay. Now we have created the button over here, and we're going to give a text as login. Okay, now this is how we can create the text box and the button at the login. Okay, as you can see, we got the button over here, and it's looking perfect, but it will be more perfect if we're going to give the block button right over here, and block, and I guess we should use the primary color as danger. We use color as danger instead of primary, and we're going to give this button as outline, so it will look more better. Okay, can you see it's looking perfect, right? Now what we're going to do, we're going to create two more buttons. Okay, and those buttons are for login with Facebook and login with Google. Now to do that, we should go inside the home.html file and just get out from the Ion list. Okay, after getting out from the Ion list, we're going to use b tag, and inside the b tag I'm going to use R. And once we do that, what we're going to do is we are going to create the two row, or instead of creating a row, we can just create two buttons right away by typing button. Sorry, it should be in the Ion button, right? Ion button. Well, I'm not writing inside the tag. Okay, it should be Ion button. I'm sorry, it should be button. Okay, and then inside it should be Ion button. I'm sorry. Now after doing this, I'm going to give the color to this button, and the button, it should be color equals to primary. So it will be getting a blue color. Okay, and okay, now we are going to use an icon on this button. So to do that, we're going to use icon over here, ion icon, and I'm sorry, ion icon. Now inside the ion icon, we are going to use we are preparing this button for Facebook. So we're going to give the name, or we're going to use the logo called logo Facebook. Okay, now after creating this icon, we are going to get an icon on the button, but this icon should be on the left of the button. So we are going to say icon left in the button tag. We're going to use this attribute. Now once we are done with this, we are going to use blocks, so it will cover up the whole area, and we are going to create one div to say that login with Facebook, login with Facebook. Okay, once we are done with this, we are going to create one more button. Okay, and that button will say login with Google. So here I'm going to change the color from primary to danger. So danger. After changing over here, I'm going to change the logo Google. Okay, and login with Google. That's great, right? Now let's go ahead and check how it's look. Okay, and the mistake is we should include the icon tag and the div tag inside the button tag. I think we are writing outside the button tag, so it's coming outside of the button. So to go ahead and fix that, we should Command X. I don't know why I just skip saying that Control X. Command V over here, and Command X and Command V. Okay, now this will fix our bug, or this will fix our mistake what we did, and this will be now I'm sure that this is going to work. Now this is how we can create the nice login form without using SCSS. Now what we're going to do is we are going to use the SCSS to make more attractive, as I have shown you in the demo. See, okay, so first we are going to create the background, and to create a background we're going to work with the home.scss file, and inside the page home I'm going to give the class, I'm going to declare the class called background, and the width of the background should be 100%, and the height should be 100%. After doing that, I'm going to give the background color, so the background, and we are going to use the gradient property of CSS, and it should be linear gradient, and inside the linear gradient I'm going to declare the degree, and it should be 10 degree, and I'm going to use colors. Now I got this color from the internet, or from the one website called HTML color codes, and it's 4E5EFC. You can get this color code from the website, from the internet. Now I'm going to use one more color to make it gradient, hash 4EE 7FC. Okay, now after doing this, I'm going to get a nice background, gradient background. But to look at that, we should don't forget to add a class over here in the ion content. You should add a class called class equals to background. Don't forget to do this. Okay, let's go ahead and check we got an output or not. Okay, can you see it's looking beautiful? Now what we're going to do is we are going to align the login and or in the center, and to do that we should work with the dot scroll content. Now dot scroll content means the whole screen is considered as the scroll content, and if you want to change something inside the scroll content, you should refer to the dot scroll content in the SCSS file, and we are going to create the dot scroll content class to align the text center, and text align, it should be center. Okay, now after doing this, what we're going to do is we are going to change the opacity of the Ionic card, and to do that, you can see that we are having this Ionic card having a white color, and if you want to reduce the opacity of the card, we're going to use the ioncard.card class to change or to make a change inside the card. As you can see, we got the output, the login and the OR has been centered. Now we are going to change the opacity of the ion card, and to do that you should use the ion card. It's not a class, it's a tag, so don't use the dot before. And inside the ion card we should use the card class to make a change inside the ion card. Now we are going to change the background of the ion card, and to change the background we are going to use RGBA. Now the first color will be 232. In the same way, inside the green I'm going to give 230, and at the place of blue I'm going to use 230 though, and over here I'm going to change the opacity to 0.6 pixel, and the semicolon should be outside of the bracket. Okay, and the border radius, or I want the border to be curved, so to do that I'm going to use the border radius property. Border radius should be 10 pixel, so the borders will be curved and it will look so pretty. Okay, now once we are done with this, we will be having a small bug. The text box will be seems different than the ion card. As you can see over here, our opacity of the card has been changed, but the text box are looking different. This is because as you can see over here in the home.html file, this input or the labels are inside the ion list, and we should work with the list, or we should work with the item to change the background of the label and the text box. We cannot change the label and the text box by just doing this piece of code or just writing this piece of code. To do that, what we're going to do is we're going to use the item class, and inside the item class I'm going to change the background of the items which are present. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same background over here, and make sure you should use 0 pixels over here, so it will be matching by the dot card. Okay, sorry for this. Okay, as you can see, we have changed the color for the username and password text box. Now they are similar to the uh, Ion card. Now why I have written 0 pixel over here is because if you are going to use 0.6 over here, then it will be darker than the background of the Ion card. Now once we do the 0%, and it will be not visible, so it will be same as the Ion card background. Now still, to make more attractive, what we are going to do is we are going to change the border of the text box, and to do that we should target the class called Ion input. No, sorry, it's not an class, it's an tag. So without dot you should write Ion input. Okay, now inside the Ion input, I'm sorry, inside the Ion input, what we're going to do is we are going to change the border. Now the color for the bottom is FD4D 73. Okay, now this will give me the red color or the light red color, and the border should be solid, and it should be of 1 pixel. We are not supposed to use semicolon over here. Maybe instead of that we should use a comma, or if you're not going to use comma, then it's okay. Okay, let's go ahead and check. Okay, can you see we got a nice border over here, and it's looking beautiful. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add the header or the app name or the company name. Okay, and to do that, it should be the outside of the card, and I'm going to go ahead inside the home.html, and before the Ion card tag I'm going to use h1 tag, and I'm going to give the name as trending codes. Okay, I'm going to close the h1 tag right away. Okay, now this will be the heading, or it will be like having a nice header on the top of the Ion card, so our card will be center and it will be looking nice. Now I'm going to make it more attractive. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change some properties of the h1 tag from the .scss file, and to do that I'm going to change the once I'm done with this, I'm going to change the font size, so it will be quite bigger to 3 em. After doing this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to Gill Sans. Okay, now let's go ahead and check like how it's look. Okay, and before we go ahead and check, I'm going to change the font weight. Font weight should be lighter. Okay, let's go ahead and check now. Can you see? Wow, it's looking beautiful. Now this is how we can create a beautiful login screen, and as you can see, it's too easy to create. We have not written that much bigger code to design this login form. Now this is beautiful, this looks beautiful. You can just change the background color. We are having a nice and a good property called linear gradient of the CSS, and you can just use that property and you can change the color.